Hey you guys, it's Peter and welcome to my channel, Peter's reality TV show recaps and opinions about trash TV. And I am so excited for this video. My last video that I filmed over here today was a very long and lengthy video about my first and last time ever watching Dancing with the Stars. I don't think that that will be one of my new shows. So if you didn't watch that video, I explained over there that I'm currently watching between 12 and 14 shows a week to keep up with this channel, right? And I have all these videos over here to make. Let me tell you what they are. Okay, so, made the Dancing with the Stars video. I have 7 videos over here that I want to make. And I'm just going to be adding to this tonight with Survivor and Amazing Race coming out and the Real Housewives of Orange County finale. So I have the Orange County catch-up, which I have notes about. I have Real Housewives of New York, Real Housewives of Salt Lake City, Welcome to Plathville, catch-up, Love After Lockup, and Below Deck Mediterranean that just came out. So I've got all those videos to make. So I was sitting here and I was like, maybe I should make 2 or 3 videos. This will be my second video on this channel today. First of all, I just want to say thank you to all of you that have subscribed to this channel. I think I'm past like 6,200 or 6,300 subscribers over here, and I'm just loving this channel. I'm loving watching all these shows. My husband and I watch all the Housewives together, but I'm also catching up on the Real Housewives of Miami. I started with season 1. I'm now on, I'm like halfway, well, like a third of the way through season 2, and I'm just like loving watching all this reality TV, and it's just really, really making me happy. And every time I film a video, there's a fucking airplane flying overhead. Get away! So anyway. Okay, but what I think I'm going to do is, I have notes on some of these shows. So I think that I'm going to, the ones that I have Real Housewives of Orange County from last week, and tonight is the finale. So the Real Housewives of Orange County and the Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. I think I'm going to do those together. So let's do a little recap of notes about the Real Housewives of Salt Lake City and the Real Housewives of Orange County going into the what do you call it? The season finale tonight of the Real Housewives of Orange County. Now, did you watch where Heather Dubrow, which I have to tell you, let me put a little lip gloss on because I have lots to say today. So, you know, Heather Dubrow, here's the thing. I like Heather Dubrow. I mean, she's got more money than God. She sold that house for, what, $55 million or something like that? I thought it was kind of, I don't know. Hey, you know, congrats to them and all this kind of stuff. But, like, they're, like, dancing in the kitchen. I'm like, you guys are money obsessed, okay? There are things that are more important in the world than money. And I think that Heather Dubrow knows that. I think that Heather and Terry Dubrow are not consumed with money because they're so great with their kids and all that kind of stuff. But like, she displays that so much on the show. So it's very confusing to me, like who is really the real Heather Dubrow. But anyway, did you see when they were on their trip to Mexico and she said that she was done with the show, that she was quitting the show? And then it just came out in a tweet that she said that if they wanted her back on the show. Why are you watching me, listening to me? I don't care if your dog has to piss. You better just keep it on walking. That's my neighbor next door. She's so sweet. Anyway, she's the youngest neighbor in our neighborhood, okay? We live in like it's not a retirement home community, but it's a retirement community. The average age is like 65 to 85, and she's 30. She just turned 30 this summer. I love her so much. But anyway, she comes over here late at night when I'm sitting out here watching my shows, and we catch up on all the neighborhood gossip. Next year, we're running the pool. There's no pool committee, and we've decided that we're going to start a pool committee, and we're going to volunteer our services to run the pool. That way we can decide when it opens and when it closes. So anyway, listen, we're taking it. It's the Real Housewives of the retirement community right here, okay? And she and I, we are front and center. All right. So anyway, but then Heather Dubrow came out like with this comment or this tweet or something, and she said, somebody asked her something. I saw this last night. I'm like following all the Real Housewives this and that on Instagram. It's constant, right? So somebody said, would you come back on the show? And she goes, I mean, if they're going to offer me my orange or whatever, why wouldn't I come back on the show? And I thought, well, I thought you quit the show. So anyway, she's kind of like the kid that takes her toys and wants to go home, but then she wants to come back and play. Like, I mean, Heather, just pull it together a little bit, right? Okay, so anyway, let's talk about the Real Housewives of Orange County first, so I can get rid of these notes that I have. And this is from last week's episode. So this is when they're on the trip to Mexico. Right when I was getting into my notes about the Real Housewives of Orange County, my tripod fell. I need a new tripod. Don't send me one. You guys are so nice whenever I say something in a video. I'm like, well, I need a pearl necklace. Not one of those dirty-minded people, but I'll be like, oh, I need a pearl necklace. And like the next day in my P.O. box, there's like a pearl necklace. You guys are so nice. You really are. I need car service for an entire year and a penthouse in Miami. So I can be on the Real Housewives of Miami. No. Anyway. Okay, so last week was when they were in Miami. Is that place that they're staying, that Vedante? I've looked it up so many times to see so my husband and I can maybe go there. Is it not absolutely gorgeous? I mean, their rooms are like full apartments. I mean, like, it is gorgeous. This resort is gorgeous. So anyway, and we love that area of Mexico anyway. Okay, so they go to this resort and they've been there for a while, right? This is like their 3rd episode being there, or 2nd episode. And it's, of course, again, this. And this is where I was so over it, because after we watched this episode, Andy Cohen, who, I just feel like Andy, and I love Andy Cohen, okay? My husband and I both think he is so sexy down and just funny and stuff like that, but this is where it's so obvious he picks favorites. Like, I've loved Vicki Gunvalson for years, but she has turned into such a mean girl on the show. I feel like this has been the year of, like, let's make friends of the Housewives, like, major characters. It's like, okay, Moneta on Atlanta, which I like Moneta, okay, but like, she's been in like every scene of Atlanta. And then it's like Salt Lake City, we've got Mary Cosby, okay, and Mary Cosby, oh, look at her running down the street, you better get her. She heard thunder. Oh, she heard thunder, okay. So anyway, and then it's like Mary Cosby, she's in like every episode, and it's like Vicki Gunvalson has come back like 2 or 3 times in Orange County. I'm like, are they friends? Are they housewives? Like, it's a lot to me, okay? And I'm just like, either, because like back in the day, like the Friends, like they'd be in like an episode here or there, they always went on the trips, but they weren't like major characters. Now they're like major characters on the show, you know? So it's I don't know, like either make them housewives. I feel like now, today, the friend role is like preparing them to be housewives the next season. We saw that with Angie last season. Angie on Salt Lake City was a friend, and now she's a housewife. So anyway, Vicki Gunvalson comes on, and they call themselves the Three Amigos. It's she, Tamra, and Shannon Bedore, and in all these episodes talking about Orange County, I'm not getting into the whole Shannon Bedore DUI thing. I made a video about it. I'm not talking about it unless more comes out about that. She apparently is seeking treatment. I hope she does. I haven't heard any more about that. I wish her all the best. I don't know why it takes 3 weeks to find or 2 weeks to find a treatment program, but best of luck to you. I wish you all the best. I've been worried about Shannon on the show for quite some time. And you know, it was interesting, I want to say this because I just said this in my video. I feel like the Housewife franchises, and now there's more sober people on the show. Like, I said that there was only like 1, but then I started thinking about it. It's like, I think the more I thought about it, there's more people that don't drink on the show now, but not many. Like, all these Housewives shows cultivate such a heavy world of drinking. Like, and we're talking about middle of the day, having like 4 gin and tonics in a row. Like, I mean, it's really heavy drinking, right? And I'm not dogging anybody that can do that and can handle it. You know, I'm in part of a program that, you know, talks about controlled drinking if you don't think that you're an alcoholic. So I completely understand that. For those of you that don't know, I've been sober for 28 years and 9 months. I'm very active in a 12-step program. I have a sponsor. She is a sponsor. I have a home group, service, and things like that. I take addiction and recovery very, very seriously. I have been worried about Shannon Bedore for a very long time, okay? Because they brought to her several times that they think she has a drinking problem. She always like writes it off like it's no big deal. If several people are coming to you, and I know this from my own history, okay, of myself and other people, if people are coming to you over time and they're saying that they think you have a problem, chances are you probably have a problem, okay? And you're just not willing to admit it or see it or work on it, because as alcoholics, and I'm not saying that she is one, that's not mine to put on her, but we're so afraid to deal with that, because that's like, what do I have if I don't have alcohol in my life? Like, that's really what I thought, you know? I think this whole, like, everything from the shot skis on Watch What Happens Live to the drinking on the shows, I mean, it's just like a lot of the drama comes from the drinking. You know, Heather Gay on Salt Lake City was just in a Sprinter van. I mean, she's like my age, and she's like in a Sprinter van vomiting, like she's 20 years old on spring break because she's had so many espresso martinis. It's like, okay, like, maybe we need to not cultivate this entire culture of, like, just heavy drinking on your shows. Like, you know, back in the day, it started with, like, a glass of wine here, a glass of wine there. And I was even, like, watching Miami. Like, Leah says Leah doesn't drink on Miami. So all the way back to the first season, they don't drink. You know, a lot of them on there don't drink or don't drink heavily. It feels like as the years have gone on, the drinking has become, like, kind of, like I don't know what the word is I'm looking for, kind of like a passage into becoming a housewife. So anyway, so they're on this trip. I had a huge issue with the fact that Tamra and Vicky are totally hardcore coming for Jen on this show about Jen's boyfriend that has cheated on her and that she left her husband for him and she cheated on her husband, all this kind of stuff. Vicky had a lot to say about it. Tamra will not let it fucking go. Tamra is so mean. Like, Tamra is trying so hard. She is either, Tamra judges literally either one of the meanest people on the face of the earth, which I've seen her in past seasons and she's not like this when her spot was secured. And I saw her on Ultimate Girls Trip to the Berkshires, and she wasn't like this with Dorinda Medley and stuff. I mean, she made jokes, but she wasn't this cutthroat. She is so cutthroat on this season. Either there is a lot going on in Tamra's personal life, and then, baby, what I would suggest to you is maybe you need to go home and take care of your own house, okay? Maybe you need to go figure that out before you want to come for somebody else's, because for me watching it, it's like, okay, either Tamra is really a mean girl or she is trying to secure her spot on this show by causing so much drama, because they know that the more drama they bring, the more they'll get some, you know, have their spot, you know, cemented on the show. Or, like, she's got personal shit going on in her own life, so this is all deflection onto Jen. That's what I'm thinking sitting there watching it, because they are so hard on Jen. And I have to tell you, two people I like, the whole cast I like on Orange County, except for, I have to tell you, I'm not a big fan of Tamra anymore. I'm just not. And I have a huge issue with Tamra, and some of the things that Shannon has said about Gina and stuff, I don't like. But, like, Gina and Emily, I like them. Even though they're shit stirrers, I feel like Emily owns her shit stirring stuff, kind of, you know. But Jen and Taylor, I really like. I think Taylor is fantastic for the show. I think she has good balance. I think she really cares about her co-stars or co-castmates on the show. Jen, I think, is coming in there. My fear is that Jen will not return to the show because it's been so heavy for her this whole, I mean, literally the whole season is about the fact that Tamra cannot stand her boyfriend because he's supposedly a serial cheater. But, girl, you know what? If your friend decides to stay with a serial cheater, okay, you say it once, you say it twice, you say it 3 times that you're worried about your friend. It never comes across as that she's worried about her. It comes across as that she's pissed that she's with her. I'm starting to kind of wonder if Tamra Judge doesn't want to fuck her boyfriend, because it's just like she's so obsessed with this whole story. I've had friends of mine where I've been concerned about their relationships or their marriage. This is not how you come for it, okay? This is not how you present with a friend that you're concerned about them, okay? This is almost kind of jealousy, like you're mad that he don't want to fuck you or something like that. It's just bizarre to me, okay? So, those 3 are mean girls. Well, Vicky and Tamra are mean girls, hands down, right? So then Andy, right after this episode where they've been the meanest they could possibly be, Vicky's talking out of her ass and doesn't even know what she's talking about on the show to this Jen, putting her down to her face, okay? Then he has the 3 of them on the episode, and he's like, the 3 amigos! And I'm like, it's the 3 mean girls, okay? It's Regina George and all of them. Like, seriously? And you're okay with this, Andy? Like, I don't know. It's just, like, let's do the right thing for once. So then it goes on, and it's like, this is when Heather is coming, and she's like, everybody's picking on me, everybody's being so mean to me, which they were, okay? But she went so far as to say that she's getting it the most. And I'm like, sitting there watching, I'm like, you're getting it the most from people when Tamra and Vicky are literally gunning for Jen. Like, they're coming for Jen's family, for her relationship, for her not being a good mom. I mean, Vicky looks at her and said, you should have made that marriage work. I'm like, girl, seriously? You've, like, been through 15 relationships, and you are nobody to talk about making a relationship work, okay? So, anyway, so then I said something about Taylor's she's a peacemaker of the group, and I think her role is really needed in this. And this is kind of something that we don't typically see in the Housewives. We see people try to attempt to be the peacemaker, but Taylor has, I mean, she's better on this than she ever was on Beverly Hills. Like, she's fantastic on this. I like Taylor. I didn't really care for her one way or the other on Beverly Hills, but I love her on Orange County. I wish they would show more of her personal life. They don't show any of her personal life. I mean, she's basically a friend of the show, you know? So then they go to this shaman deal, and Jen is like, I really hope that Tamra will come so that we can have this, like, you know, bonding, forgiving moment. And Jen comes, and Tamra comes, and Vicky comes, all this kind of stuff. And first of all, I'm like, Jen, you are a much better person than me, okay? Because I preach forgiveness, kindness, compassion, and understanding. I do. I believe in it, okay? But if I had a friend that came for me that hard, I would say in a very loving way, this breaks my heart to say this, but I can't have contact with you anymore. You are toxic and detrimental to my life, and I can't interact with you anymore. The fact that after all these things that these people have said to her, that she continues to want to, like, work it out through a shaman situation, which I love that whole scene. I thought that was very cool. And they said all this stuff, and then they turn around and did the total opposite. I'm like, Jen, you are a much better person than me. I mean, you are a much better person than me. You're much more forgiving than me and all that kind of stuff because I couldn't handle it. So then they go to lunch, and at the lunch, everyone's attacking Heather for telling Tamra, allegedly, that they're all losers. Okay, so this is the whole thing that came out this season, where Emily said that they were at Bravo. This is where all the drinking is so problematic, right? That Emily said that, that Shannon... That Heather told her that Shannon was talking shit about everybody at BravoCon, which in reality, it was Tamra that was talking shit, and this comes out in the episode. Andy said something about it on the Watch What Happens Live with Emily, and Emily was like, yeah, I guess I was wrong and I should probably own it. I'm like, girl, you literally blame somebody, and I like Emily, but I was like, girl, you literally blame somebody for the entire episode or shows being all about that, and then you just were like, yeah, I guess I got it wrong. Like, you put that on Shannon for all that time and it was Tamra. And then you just kind of, like, act like it was no big deal. It was a huge deal on the show. So all these people are coming for Heather, right? And then the vault situation, this stays in the vault. So then Heather throws Tamra under the bus, okay? And then Tamra throws Heather under the bus and says that Heather was saying that they're all losers, okay? And then Heather's like, I wasn't talking about all of you guys, which she probably was, but she's like, I was talking about Noella. Well, if there's one thing we can all agree on, and I know my husband would completely agree with this, is that Noella was a loser, okay? I can tell you right now, if Noella had made it to another season on Real Housewives of Orange County, my husband would not be watching it. He could not stand Noella. She would come up in an episode, and my husband would walk into the kitchen and make some food or get, like, a soft drink or something like that. He could not stand her, okay? You were talking about a liar. I mean, my God, that Noella, she needed to be kicked off that show the episode 1 of that season she was on. Then I said on here, Vicky's saying she can't, this was the best, right? And they showed actual past clips of Vicky being in, like, really toxic fights and shouting and screaming at people. Vicky leaves the table and she's, like, saying to the people that work there, I can't be around these toxic women. And they talk, what did she say on here? I can't be around toxic women attacking and fighting with each other. And then she says she's grown up so much when, like... You can't be around these toxic women attacking each other, but you're literally attacking Jen, okay, on the same episode, coming for her, telling her that she should never have left her family, that she should have made that work, okay? When you are literally calling these people toxic, and you're so grown up and stuff, and you're screaming and whooping it up in videos and burning at hotel rooms, okay? Like, Vicky, maybe you need to turn that mirror on yourself. I don't give a rat's ass. Okay, this is the thing. I really liked Vicky. And this season alone, as her coming back as a friend, has made me really not like her, okay? Like, for example, Vicky said that her new boyfriend would never be in the public eye, and he was in the audience to Watch What Happens Live. Liar. You're a liar, Vicky, okay? Clock that. Clock that, Vicky. You're a liar, okay? Every bit of respect that I had for Vicky going into this season, as a friend, I lost all respect for her. Done with her. She's a mean girl. Okay, and then Vicky, Shannon, and Tamra go to this bar after they say that, you know, Vicky can't handle that, you know, they're mean girls and all this kind of stuff, and then she goes to a bar with them, and it's the three amigos, and they're so happy that they ended this way, and this week. Okay, and then this week tonight is the season finale, so I gotta get to Real Housewives of Salt Lake City so we can tie all this bullshit up. Okay, so last night was Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. Oh my God, I have lots of notes about this. So they're still in Palm Springs, okay? So, they're talking about the dinner that they had when Angie and Meredith get into it and Monica's trying to stop the conversation and whatever. The next day, Monica says that she has never witnessed behavior like that from Angie until this trip. And I'm like, yeah, because your friendship with Angie has been behind the scenes when cameras aren't rolling. Cameras are rolling on this trip. Okay, if anything, Angie tried to stir so much shit up last season so that she got a spot on the show. She got a spot on the show. She's trying to secure her spot on the show. So she's doing everything dramatic to secure her spot on the show, okay? Angie is phony and she is fake. Why did we give her a spot on the show, okay? She's fake. I'm over it. I can't stand this Angie. Not at all. I can't stand her. I don't think she has one good thing about her. And then it goes on, I was saying, they're saying that, Angie says that Meredith was, basically she insinuates that Meredith was being petty because she didn't give her a t-shirt. So Angie makes her own t-shirt, okay? Because she gives all these girls t-shirts and she has them wear the t-shirt to this trust building thing. So Angie makes this t-shirt and I'm like, girl, you didn't get a fucking t-shirt because you weren't invited on the trip. Like, let's not play dumb, okay? Like, let's not act like Meredith specifically was being petty and didn't give you a t-shirt. She didn't give you a t-shirt because you weren't invited on her trip that she planned, okay? Yeah, I think it's bullshit. Every castmate is invited on the trip. Meredith should have just invited her on the trip, okay? I 100% agree with that, but she wasn't. Sorry, okay? And she's got issues with Angie. So she didn't invite her on the trip. Do I think it was all about production behind the scenes, doing all this kind of stuff? Yeah, absolutely 100%. I think it was just drama, you know? But she didn't invite you, so you didn't get a t-shirt. Shut the fuck up, you know? Seriously. I wouldn't feel bad if I didn't invite somebody on a trip and they showed up. I mean, if we're going to act like this is real and it's not scripted, then if I didn't invite somebody on a trip and they just showed up and invited themselves or invited themselves through somebody else, and then they were pissed off because they didn't get one of the gifts that I brought, I didn't bring a gift for you because you weren't invited. Shut the fuck up. So then they do this trust building thing, and then Meredith at the end of it, this is where I'm like kind of over all of them in this show so far. I really like Monica, in all honesty. And I like Heather too. And everybody was like, you like Heather? Yes, I like Heather. Sorry, I just do. But Meredith said at the end that she was happy that Angie was the one that got the most out of it with Heather on her free trip. And I'm like, girl, this is where you're so tasteless, okay, Meredith? Like, you want to come out and act like you're so grand and all this kind of stuff with your fake British accent. And I liked Meredith for a long time. This is where she's fakety fake to me, okay? So you do this trust building thing. You've come out in a million tweets defending Mary, who is so pompous and so arrogant that she's like, I don't want to build trust with them people. Okay. If anybody doesn't want to build trust with people, it should probably be Angie. And I'm not giving her an out, okay? But Angie don't get along with none of these people except for Whitney, okay? But Angie participates in the trust building contest. One of the biggest people that Angie has an issue with is Heather, okay? They've known each other since high school. Heather and Angie are having a good time. Heather even says, this is one of the best times I've had with Angie in a long time. I'm really glad we did this trust building contest. And Meredith is like, I'm really glad that Angie's the one person that got something out of this and she didn't pay for this trip. It's petty. If you really cared about trust building, you'd be glad that two people rebonded over this. But you don't really care about trust building, Meredith, because you're phony. You're all phony on this show, okay? And please, let's not have cameo after cameo of Brooks Marks on this TV show to sell his horrible tracksuits. Like, that I do not need, okay? Brooks Marks, like, first of all, you got, like, these kids are like 24 years old and they're home, like, living there for months on end. What 24-year-old that has a job and an own brand, a fashion brand, living in New York City and being in college in California and things like, why are you all living at home for months on end, okay? You could not keep me at home when I was 18 years old. I was out. I was out the house doing stuff, okay? I wasn't hanging around on couches. Now, if my parents had a reality show, maybe that'd be a different story. Oh, you're fake like that too? Okay, well, we don't need no more Brooks Marks cameos on the show. That's real old. Anyway, so then Meredith's saying that she don't want to do trust building with people on the trip. Okay, Mary, whatever. And then this is the part where I'm like, I said something to my husband about Mary being shady. He goes, Mary's not shady, she's mean. And I'm like, started thinking about it. I'm like, well, her shade is mean, but it's kind of funny. But if I was the one that was directed by Mary's shade, I don't think it would feel like shade. I've had a lot of shade in my life directed towards me. And sometimes I'm like, oh, okay, girl. Like, you got in, right? Like when somebody goes, oh, you thought that shirt would look good on you? Did you think that shirt looked cute, girl? Like, that's shade, right? But Mary comes right out and just says cruel shit. So I started looking at it, I was like, no, she does say really cruel shit, right? Okay. Why don't you address that church and those funds from that church, Mary? Why don't you talk about that? Okay. So then Whitney takes over Meredith's trip with the drag makeup competition. I already knew this was going to go sour. Then Lisa, she's in there crying in the river. I'm so fucking, like, first of all, because I wanted to see if she would respond, I tweeted to Lisa Bartlett. She don't shut up on Twitter either, okay? She's constantly talking about all this shit, defending herself. What was the tweet she put out? Okay, so she hired, all of them hired Glam to travel. She's like, I have Glam to go to Walmart. I have Glam to go to the grocery store. I went to Monaco and I had Glam. Okay, girl, we know you have Glam, okay? She sent in her Glam person, paid them $2,500, this Morgan girl or whatever, and then she got him a hotel room and a flight and all this kind of stuff, right? I understand it, okay? It's a drag competition. Go with the flow, Lisa. My husband's like, she's so insecure, that's why she doesn't want to see her face without makeup or something, right? And then on Watch What Happens Live, Andy Cohen asks Heather about her being insecure, and he goes, and Heather's like, Lisa is the most not insecure person in the world. Like, she just wants to do what Lisa wants to do, right? So then Lisa, here she is on Twitter. So I tweeted to her, I said, hey, baby gorgeous, and she liked the tweet. But anyway, she's pissing me off on this show, too. So Lisa, she tweeted out, hold on a second, where'd she tweet this out? I have standards. It's my Glam, and I'll cry if I want to. She did. She cried. She was a crying mess because she couldn't have her Glam come because Trixie Mattel, who is a RuPaul's Drag Race All-Star winner, okay, was going to help them do this drag competition, and she is so worried about how she's going to look to go out to dinner that she, even though she was a good sport and wore that whole ordeal that Meredith gave her, well, that was because she was kissing ass to Meredith because she wants to make that relationship right? She don't care about Whitney, even though she's supposedly friends with Whitney. The whole thing makes no sense to me whatsoever, okay? So then this goes on and on and on, and then Lisa goes off. Then they're in the van, and Monica compares her. Oh no, this was before the van. Monica compares her to Veruca Salt from Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. Like, I want it now, and she's so completely right about that. Then Lisa started crying, and Monica calls her privileged as fuck. Anyway, then they do this drag contest. Monica wins. Okay, she totally deserves to win. She's hilarious on it. Whitney looked good too. Heather looked like Dolly Parton. She was fantastic. Okay, this is where like Mary doesn't participate in anything, like, at all. She never even gets out to go to the restaurants or the bar. She just sits in the Sprinter van and has them take her to McDonald's, okay? Which everybody's like, I'm living for this. I'm like, I think it's rude, okay? And Lisa said that, Mary will never win the participation medal, which I thought was kind of funny. Then they get in the Sprinter van before they're going to this bar, and Monica is going off on Lisa about this ring, right? And she says that you and the other 1% of the world live like you. Nobody else does, right? And Lisa said she won't apologize for being herself. Which, girl, good, okay? But then they go in, and they go to this bar. Mary has a Sprinter van take her to McDonald's. The fight with Monica and Lisa continues at the bar. Lisa says, she says something about middle America can't afford a 60, she's like talking about the audience of Real Housewives, and Monica says something about the middle America can't afford a $60,000 ring, and Lisa goes, yes they can. Girl, I'm middle America, I live in Indiana, I can assure you I can't afford a $60,000 ring, and neither can most of my neighbors. And I have a blessed life, okay, but I can't afford a $60,000 ring. Wouldn't want to. Cubic zirconium. Okay, so anyway, then Whitney throws up. Whitney and Meredith get in this huge fight. Whitney is just such a disgusting shit stirrer of the show, okay? I don't know if Whitney's contract, do you remember how, like, on last season of Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, Kathy Hilton threw up in Lisa's face that her contract was coming to an end, which is interesting because then Lisa Rinna wasn't, like, she didn't come back on the show. She didn't say if it was about her contract or not, which I think is interesting that nobody talks about that today, right? The Kathy said, well, your contract is up. You knew you needed to stir something up. That was the whole Aspen thing. Okay, well, what's interesting to me is I'm wondering if Whitney's contract is about to be not renewed after the season, because Whitney is being such a shit stirrer on this season. I mean, it's, like, disgusting, right? And so she gets in Meredith's face. Now, she says that Meredith always brings up personal stuff as an excuse to get out of things. I 100% agree with that. It's like every time Meredith is pushed into a corner, she's like, how dare you when, you know, I have personal stuff going on in my life, right? She always says that. It's like every season she's done that. It's always she's got personal stuff in her life, right? Well, she don't care about nobody else's personal stuff when she's coming for them. So Whitney gets in her face because she thinks being in a bar when they're all drunk and doing shots is a good time to have this discussion. Okay, Whitney, this is not the good time to have this discussion. So she throws up this stuff that Meredith has been insinuating about, I don't even know what it's about, some sick child or something, okay? She throws that up in Meredith's face, and Meredith calls her a monster, and she goes, you are a monster! You are disgusting! Meredith literally thinks that she is like the moral superiority of the world, okay? Meredith, listen, we all have a lot of shit going on in our life, and I grant you that you probably have some too, okay? And maybe some horrible stuff, but like, let's just pull it down a little bit. You know, let's listen, okay? You're not Jesus on the cross, okay? And somebody needs the wood. So let's just pull it down a little bit, Meredith, all right? So then it goes on, and Angie and Whitney go off on Meredith. Like, they're literally, like, tag-teaming Meredith on either side. And I'm like, this is such a gross look. Like, they're literally like, oh, and Meredith, and Meredith, and I'm like, oh, my God. Like, if it was me, I'd be like, both of you, I'm done, okay? I'm out of here. They're, like, wanting to force these people off the show so that they can secure their spots is what I'm up to. So then Meredith says that, she doesn't call Angie a pit bull. She says something like, I feel like I'm being attacked by a pit bull or something like that. But then Angie says, she called me a pit bull. She called me a pit bull. So what if she calls you a pit bull? You know? If you're acting like, you know, like what's the saying? Like if, you know, if it quacks like a duck, then it's a duck. You know what I'm saying? I mean, like, girl, you're literally like biting at her ankles wanting to come for Meredith, okay? Because you got a point to prove. Because she didn't invite you on this fucking trip. You could have had, as an adult, a sit-down conversation by the pool and say, Meredith, it really hurt me that you didn't invite me on this trip. Can you explain it to me? Whatever differences we have, can we work aside? And Meredith probably would have had that conversation with you. Okay, but that wouldn't make for good TV. We needed to spread this out over 3 episodes, okay? This is all production's fault of getting these people stirred up. When one of these people has a serious fucking heart attack and dies on the show from all the stress that they incur because production pushes them in a certain show or certain direction, okay? It's going to be a sad day for Bravo. Anyway, and then we got Whitney stirring that back and that. It's a lot. I will say this, though. I am living for this season of The Real Housewives of Orange County. Aren't you? So, Orange County? Well, I mean, it's almost over because next week's the reunion. But I am living for that, too. But I'm living for this season of The Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. It's so good. It is so good. So anyway, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. If you don't agree with me, that's alright, get fucked. No, if you don't agree with me, that's totally fine. This is a safe place to have a conversation about what we all think about the Housewives. We don't have to like the same people. We don't even have to agree. I just want to have a place to talk about it because I think it's fun. And this is what I do with my friends. And listen, we do not agree. So you don't have to agree with me. If you do, that's okay. If you don't, that's okay too. I just love you guys watching my videos. Thank you so much. And I will see you tomorrow. Bye.